All right, here we go. Just we'll give it about 2 minutes. Hey, Kristen.
Hello. Hi, Melissa.
Hi.
We're just going to give it another minute or so, and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Okay, I think we'll get started. Someone just asked if the sound is on. It should be on. We just weren't saying anything. So let us know if you have a problem through the Q&A or through the chat box. Welcome everybody to the Special Education Legal Clinic. My name is Mark Weicker and I'm with Abdenauer Weicker. Abdenauer Weicker is one of the three organizations that have collaborated to provide the clinic. That is Abdenauer Weicker, Disability Rights Ohio, and the Ohio Coalition for the Education of Children with Disabilities. And as you probably know, we do workshops on a monthly basis, third Monday of the month typically. And today's workshop is Social Security for Transition Age Youth, and it's going to be provided by Melissa Day from DRO. I'll introduce Melissa in a minute. A couple things about registration. You can register, and I'll drop this link in the chat box. You can register at www.lawyersforstudents.com/legal clinic. And we are going to come up soon with a new series. We are in the 7th out of 8 workshops in this series. So we have today, Social Security for Transition Age Youth. And then next month, April 15th, Tax Day, Stable Accounts by the Office of the Ohio Treasurer. And that ends our transition series. And then we're going to start a new series, and we're working on that as we speak. So thank you everyone for signing up and attending today. A couple other items. If you have questions, you can put them in the Q&A. That's the best spot, better than the chat. And then we'll try to answer those questions if we can as we go. On occasion, we may stop Melissa and ask her to help us answer a question. And we'll definitely have time at the end to answer a few questions about this workshop, or if you have general questions about special education, we can do that too. We do have to end right at 1 o'clock or before, just because we go right into our individual guidance sessions that we have right after the workshop. So let's see, there's something in the Q&A. The previous presentations. Good question. Someone asked, where we can find the previous presentations. That's at the same URL that I just provided, which I will again put in the chat box, lawyersforstudents.com/legal clinic. And if you look at the prior sessions, first there's the link that says all prior workshops are recorded and available here. But in this particular series, you'll see that the workshops that have passed in this series, there's a link to the right that says watch here. So everything's uploaded to YouTube and you can watch it on demand. And this one will be saved and uploaded within a week or so and available on demand as well. So let me make sure that one more question. Okay. Yep, I think we're in good shape. And I'll go ahead and pass it on to Melissa Day, who has taken her time today to provide the workshop on Social Security for Transition Age Youth. Thanks, Melissa.
You're welcome, Mark. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well this Monday. So let's begin. So I want to let everybody know that Social Security funded creation of this document under a grant. Although Social Security reviewed this document for accuracy, it does not constitute an official Social Security communication. This communication is printed, published, or produced and disseminated at taxpayers' expenses. So our goal for today is for you attendees to become familiar with Social Security's rules and work incentives for transition age youth with disabilities to help them, or you, if a youth is attending, but probably they're in school right now, unless you're over 18, achieve education, career, and life goals. Today, hopefully you'll be understanding the rules of and services offered by Disability Rights Ohio, acronym DRO. I'll be using the DRO acronym. Then learning about Social Security benefits specifically for transition age youth, which usually is from between the ages of 14 to 22, and how beneficiaries can use Social Security work incentives to work and still receive monthly payments and Medicare or Medicaid. And then learning how DRO can assist transition age youth through our protection and advocacy of beneficiaries of Social Security grant known as PABS, PABSS. So Disability Rights Ohio is a nonprofit corporation whose mission is to advocate for human, civil, and legal rights of all people with disabilities in Ohio. We are Ohio's designated protection advocacy agency and client assistance program. Every state and territory has a federally funded designated protection advocacy system, a PNA, and a federally designated client assistance program, also known as CAP. These programs are federally funded to advocate specifically for individuals with disabilities. Our staff consists of intake specialists who receive calls and provide information and referral. They are our first line, your first line of getting to attorneys and advocates who provide advocacy services to the people with disabilities, which includes self-advocacy help, limited representation, legal advocacy, which includes individual and class actions. Policy and communication staff educate Ohioans and policymakers about the agency and disability rights issues. So we provide legal advocacy, again, rights and protection, a wide range of people with disabilities. This includes investigating abuse and neglect, addressing disability discrimination, accessing home and community-based community services, navigating special education systems, advocating for housing rights, accessing job training, ensuring access to voting, which is tomorrow, review of payees for Social Security beneficiaries, and benefits counseling. So how are individuals eligible for DRO services? Be a person with a disability, there is no income requirement, and clients are never received any bills and they're never charged for services. So let's get to the types of Social Security benefits. There are two types. Title 16, which is known as Supplemental Security Income, SSI, pays for benefits to disabled adults and children with limited income and resources. Title II, known as Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, pays benefits to workers who have accumulated a sufficient number of work credits and to their children. For children who are under 18 to be eligible for SSI, they must meet Social Security's definition of a disability for a child, which means have a physical or mental impairment or combination of impairments that cause severe limitations in daily life, and the condition has lasted or is expected to last for at least 12 months. And then they must also have no other way to pay for basic expenses like food, rent, and utilities. It is important to note that Social Security counts both child and parents' earnings and resources, including savings accounts, stocks, and real estate. When an individual on SSI is turning 18, Social Security will do a review called SSI Age 18 Redetermination. This occurs during the first year after turning 18. And the process of determining whether the young person meets Social Security's adult definition of disability, which is have a physical or mental impairment or a combination of impairments that limit ability to work, which means preventing the individual from earning what's called substantial gainful activity. And it's a threshold every year. And the threshold this year for individuals who are not blind is $1,550 per month. And for individuals who are blind, it's $2,590. And then the condition has lasted or expected to last for at least 12 months. Now, if an individual's turning 18 is denied, is not found to meet the definition of adult disability, then the individual has two options. First, it's important to appeal within 10 days of receiving the termination letter and ask SSI payments continue until a decision is made. Normally, if an individual does receive a termination letter, benefits will continue for 2 months, but it's still important to appeal within 10 days. Next, apply to continue benefits through Social Security's work incentive called Section 301. This means that the young person is participating in Social Security approved employment support programs, which is work incentives. This includes vocational rehabilitation and has an IEP, individualized education program plan, a plan to achieve self-support called a PASS plan, or other approved Social Security programs that will help them get a good job in the future. So next, moving on to SSDI. So a disabled adult child is entitled to childhood disability benefits based on Social Security's record of a parent only if the following conditions are met. First, an application for childhood disability benefits is filed. The child young adult meets the definition of disabled under SSDI, which we just spoke about. The child young adult is not married, or if married, is married to a Social Security beneficiary. The child young adult is age 18 or older, and the disability must begun before age 22. And the parent is entitled to SSDI or retirement insurance benefits or has deceased. Moving on to work incentives. So work incentives are rules that Social Security uses to help beneficiaries work and receive benefits at the same time. It lets them keep the benefits while working and get a benefit back if the benefits are stopped due to work. So SSI has certain work incentives and SSDI has certain work incentives. So for example, earned income exclusion is where Social Security does not count the first $65 of earnings. And there's a lot of math that goes into calculating all these work incentives. So it's really good to speak with a benefits counselor, which we'll address later. And then student earned income exclusion, property essential to self-support, special SSI payments for people with disability, and then Medicaid while working, which is called Section 1619B. And then there are special benefits for people eligible under what's called Section 1619A and B who enter a medical treatment facility. And then SSDI, so individuals who want to work and are on SSDI, they have what's called a trial work period, which consists of 9 months. And then after 9 months is completed, they go into a 36-month period of extended eligibility, where the individual can still receive their benefits and earn income as long as it's below that substantial gainful activity. Then there's unincurred business expenses for self-employment. And then the individual can also continue coverage of Medicare and Medicare for people with disabilities who are working. And it's very important that individuals who start working to report their wages timely to the Social Security Administration to lessen the effects of overpayment. There are several ways to report wages to Social Security, and this can be found on the website https:// choosework.ssa.gov/library/wage reporting. And this will be recorded. This is being recorded, so you'll have it again. So student earned income exclusion is a provision that allows individuals under the age of 22 who are regularly attending school to exclude their earning income. And for this year, Social Security will exclude $2,290 per month. And for a year, up to the maximum is $9,230. Property essential to self-support is where Social Security does not count some resources that are essential to beneficiaries' means of self-support when Social Security decides their initial and continuing eligibility for SSI. This is usually when the individual who receives SSI is working for self-employment, and they don't count properties such as things used in trade or business, tools and equipment. And this will all be individuals who speak with a benefits counselor that all this will be determined by them. So Social Security work incentives for some individuals receive SSI and SSDI at the same time. So remember that Section 301 work incentives for individuals who may no longer be eligible when they turn 18. This is a good benefit. So the Ticket to Work program, unsuccessful work attempts. So an individual tries work and it's unsuccessful. That's really good benefit. And then Impairment-related work expenses are those expenses that help you get to work, such as medication that you have to pay for out of pocket. And there's a whole list of impairment-related work expenses in what's called the Red Book, which is a resource provided later on in the PowerPoint. And then there's the plan to achieve self-support, subsidies and special conditions, special rules for those who are blind. And then if for some reason individuals are working and they lose their benefits to making over the substantial gainful amount, there's the expedited reinstatement process, which allows benefits to reapply quickly. So the Ticket to Work program provides Social Security beneficiaries who want to work and have access to free employment support services. So the individual can use their ticket to receive help from Ohio's Vocational Rehabilitation Agency, known as OOD, which will come up in the next slide. And then also, if individuals don't want to work with the Vocational Rehabilitation Agency, then there's employment networks they'll be able to use as well. And then individuals can receive more information on the Ticket to Work program by contacting the helpline. So in Ohio, we have the Vocational Rehabilitation Agency known as Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities, also known as either OOD or OOD. And the services they provide is transition services, which will be covered in the next slide, training, rehabilitation, such as needing eyeglasses, rehabilitation technology, such as voice activation devices, all kinds of other things. Then career counseling, job placement assistance, helping them find a job, also job coaching, and OOD also provides benefits counseling. So the transition services provided by OOD is pre-employment transition services, also known as PREETs. This includes job exploration counseling, work-based learning experiences counseling on post-secondary education, which means college, workplace readiness training, and introduction to self-advocacy. Summer youth work experiences are really good for the individual to either explore careers around the city where they live or actually get hands-on opportunity training during the summer to try out different jobs. And then OOD assists students obtain non-permanent work, such as seasonal or after-school job, which will provide work experience and build work history while they're in high school or in college. And job coaching can be provided as needed too. So employment networks are private and public organizations that contract with Social Security to provide free employment support services. So this is for beneficiaries ages 16 through 64. And they provide more limited services than vocational rehabilitation does. And so in Ohio, if you've heard of, these are provided through Job and Family Services. So if you've ever heard of Ohio Means Jobs, they have job centers around, located in different cities throughout the state of Ohio. And you can find help if you want to find an employment network. You can go to the website at the bottom, and that's just another alternative for individuals if they do not want to work with vocational rehabilitation. So another great work incentive that came around I believe it was implemented in 2008, is Ohio's Medicaid buy-in for workers with disabilities. This is a great program that provides healthcare coverage to working Ohioans with disabilities. And it was created to encourage Ohioans with disabilities to work and keep their healthcare benefits. This also includes individuals who receive long-term care waiver services such as Medicaid, home and community-based waivers, as well as waivers through the Department of Developmental Disabilities. And the eligibility criteria is here. So being a US citizen or meet citizen requirements, must be a resident of Ohio, and be 16 or it was 64, but I believe now through this year, it's been raised. The limit age has been raised, hopefully, because individuals are working longer than 64 and 65. And then have a disability defined by Social Security Administration, or which is SSI or SSDI. And if an individual is not receiving Social Security benefits, then they have to receive a determination by the Division of Disability Determination to see if their disability qualifies for MBIWD. Then be employed either part-time or full-time, and then meet certain financial criteria, and then sometimes pay a premium. So MBIWD's financial criteria is Job and Family Services will look at income and resources to determine the eligibility. So after income deductions, the applicant's annual income must be less than or equal to 250% of the federal poverty level. Resources now through MBIWD are a lot higher. So than regular Medicaid, which is, I believe, $2,000. So I believe for this year, it's $14,318, which is great. And then applicants with an annual income greater than 250% of the federal poverty level should still apply for MBIWD because certain deductions, such as income work-related expenses and things like that, will be deducted. And anyone wanting to apply for MBIWD should consult with a benefits counselor first. And I've provided some, there's an MBIWD game board online to see, exactly how the financial criteria works, and also Disability Benefits 101 website on MBIWD is a really good, and it has a wage estimator to see if you would qualify or have a premium.
Melissa, we have a couple questions if you want to stop there.
Yeah.
Okay, first question is, a student just went to SSA to file for SSI because they are blind. They were given a phone interview later and then received a letter saying they don't qualify for SSDI. They thought they were applying to SSI. Do you know what the next steps would be?
That would probably entail reapplying. I know a lot of times that, well, they may not have qualified for SSI based on the income criteria. So I would definitely have the individual try and consult with an attorney regarding what their eligibility rights are and requirements and things like that. So.
Got it. And there's a comment that says, I think when you apply for SSI, you automatically apply for SSDI. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one other is when my child turns 18, I'm going to apply for SSI for him. what is an estimate of how long it takes to get approved and how much they would be eligible to receive? I heard he would need a medical evaluation by the SSA. He has never worked or ever been able to work. Thank you.
So, I'm curious as to why they're waiting till he's 18. I think it would probably be beneficial to apply beforehand. So he's not being determined under that definition of disability that they use for SSDI. And for SSI, the income right now, I believe, an individual receives is $914. And how long the process takes, it's not fast unless an individual has what's called a compassionate allowance disability, and that can be kind of Googled just by putting compassionate allowance disabilities. And that is more of an expedited process, but it just varies.
Got it. And then it says, does SSI not go by the parent's income if they're under the age of 18?
No, the parent's income is included. So it's the opposite. When an individual turns 18, they usually have a household income of 1. But when they're under 18, the parent's income is included in that.
It does count. Okay, got it. Yeah, and that's what they're asking about. If they're under the age of 18, then the parent's income would be considered, right?
Mhm.
Got it. Okay, we got some other questions, but I want to allow you to continue on, so we'll save some of those for right now. Thank you.
Yeah. So, because all the work incentives are kind of complicated and so it's a lot of math involved and everything. So Social Security has the work incentives planning and assistance projects. And these are community-based organizations that receive grants from Social Security to provide SSI and SSDI beneficiaries, including youth in transition, to free access to work incentives planning and assistance, which is the benefits counseling I've been referring to this time. And benefits counseling should be free. And each WIPA has counselors called community work incentives, CWICs, who work with the beneficiary to help them understand their benefits, teach them when, how, and what to report to Social Security, and they'll provide in-depth individual counseling and about their benefits and the effect of work on those benefits, and also provide ongoing support and information as they transition to work. And to receive benefits counseling, to be referred to a benefits counselor, you'll need to call the Social Security Ticket to Work helpline number, which is here on the slide, but it's 866-968-7842. And then there's also a TTY number as well, 866-833-2967. And they'll refer you to the program that is in your area. So how DRO helps individuals with Social Security? We have several ways. One, like I mentioned, is through our protection and advocacy for beneficiaries of Social Security grants. And we provide information and advocacy to beneficiaries still eligible under the Individual Disability Education Act related to school-based transition planning, provide short-term assistance, including legal information and referrals for disputes with Social Security involving overpayments that are work-related and that are a barrier in securing, maintaining, and retaining employment. And then we provide short-term assistance and advice and information, including on Social Security's work incentives. And then so DRO also has a WIPA grant. So we have benefits counselors, and we provide it to 31 counties out of the 88. And so that's why it's important to contact the Ticket to Work helpline. They'll determine, ask you what your county is, and then refer you to the WIPA program for your county. And then, so the other WIPA programs is Southeast Inc., and then also the Legal Aid Society of Cincinnati, and then OOD has benefits counselors as well. So this is fairly new. DRO's Representative Payee Review Program provides a number of services. This came about in 2018 when Congress passed an act to protect beneficiaries with Social Securities. So the Rep Payee program is assisting representative payees in not only performing their duties in accordance with Social Security guidelines, but also in understanding what their obligation is to the person they are serving. They review financial records that the representative payees are to be keeping to ensure there's no issues present. Then they speak in depth to the representative payee as well as the beneficiary about the payeeship and any concerns the beneficiary might have. And then making needed outside referrals, and then ensuring any issues found are addressed through appropriate agencies. And how we get cases to review is by Social Security will actually assign cases to our Rep Payee reviewers. And then we also can complete reviews if DRO staff member uncovers concerns while working with a client. And we can receive tips from the community. And if an individual has knowledge of a representative payee may be abusing or neglecting their responsibilities, then please contact our intake department so a representative payee review team can take a look into the matter further. And so here are the resources I promised. So these resources are really good for transition age youth. And if you want an in-depth kind of explanation of what work incentives look like and definitions and things like that, it's the Red Book, which is at the bottom of this slide. And it comes in PDF form. You can actually request a hard copy from Social Security. And then other employment resources. Here is opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities websites. So they provide a whole lot of different services to different types of individuals. And then that Disability Benefits 101 website I was talking about provides videos and benefits planning estimators. And then here's some additional resources. We have an excellent resource center on our website. We have an employment guide to VR services. It's really detailed. Our special education resources is really in-depth. And then our benefits counseling and representative payee program. And then you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. And if you want to join our newsletter, that would be great. And then here's how to contact you. You can fill out an intake form online or call or write to us. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thanks, Melissa. A few more that are on the list here. How do families and individuals determine which work incentive is best for them to apply for? Would they work with their county SSA to determine this?
No, not at all. No, it's the benefits counselors that are the most knowledgeable about this. And if an individual is working with OOD, hopefully they should be getting benefits counseling. If not, ask their counselor to be referred to benefits counselor. But calling that ticket to work helpline, the benefits counselors go through extensive training and receive a certification to provide this information to beneficiaries and their families.
Got it. Thank you. And then this one's a little bit of a broad question, but maybe you can help out. Transition from minor on SSI to age 18, what happens?
Can you say that again?
Yeah, so transitioning from a minor on SSI to age 18, what happens?
So Social Security will, this happened to a client of mine. So Social Security called up the individual or the representative payee and asked the individual, the representative payee, questions about, are they working? If they're not working, things like that. And so that process occurs within the first year after they turn 18. And so just once the individual turns 18, I think you could be proactive and speak with Social Security, but make sure that you're keeping a lookout for any notices you receive from Social Security, because it's very important to timely either appeal or make an interview. Sometimes they'll schedule an interview call to speak with the individual or the representative payee.
Got it. And then one other, it says, our attorney has a service to help apply our son for SSI, but it comes with a fee. Is there a service within Social Security to use a Social Security benefit counselor to help us apply?
I don't think benefits counselors can actually help individuals apply for benefits, but I believe there is a program called SOAR, SOAR. And this is for individuals who may be at risk of homelessness or not being able to afford basic living. And they can sometimes help apply an individual with benefits. Actually, at one point in my career, there was a program through the Mid-Ohio Food Bank that had this type of service. I don't think it exists anymore, but you can actually apply for disability services online. If you want to try it on your own, but also maybe contact the Ohio Bar Association to see if there are any attorneys that help individuals apply on what's called a contingency basis. So if they do receive Social Security benefits, that they might pay through any back pay they may receive.
Got it. And that's the last question we have in the Q&A. We'll give it maybe another 30 seconds or so to see if any others pop up. But Melissa, thank you very much for taking your time out today to provide the information. That's very helpful.
You're welcome.
Whole new world for me.
I can't stress how important it is to find out if the individual receives SSI, then wages can be reported by a telephone app. But if they're using work incentive, work-related, I'm like losing the word, but income impairment work-related expenses, those actually have to be turned in specifically to the Social Security department. And then if an individual is receiving SSDI, I believe if they have an account online, which every individual in the United States can sign up and get their own Social Security account to actually see what, if they're not receiving Social Security benefits, what their benefits would look like if they needed to them now, or what they'll look like in the future. And then, but if they don't have an account online, please don't mail your work stubs in, because Social Security has a black hole that things get lost in. I don't know why, but it's better to take them in person, even though it might take some time. But you'll be able to get a stamped copy that you actually reported your wages, that you'll have a record of in case Social Security comes back and says, you owe us an overpayment.
Got it. And then there is a question here. How can families follow up to get updates after the phone application process?
I would just be contacting the local Social Security office to get an update to see if it's gone through. So once an application, I do know once an application is put in, everything is sent to the actually OOD, their disability determination department. And that's where it gets processed, and then it gets sent back to Social Security. So checking in, just calling the local Social Security office.
Got it. And then one question about the pay stubs. It says, couldn't people fax their stubs? They would have a confirmation that it was received. Have you ever had that experience?
I have one individual that has some type of barcode that she uses, but you yourself would definitely have a record that it was successfully faxed. If an individual does fax things, follow up a couple of days later to make sure that they actually received it. Because I have sent things to Social Security and they say they didn't receive it, and I received a successful confirmation.
Got it. And then with regard to the representative payee, do we get a letter from SSI to open an account?
For a representative payee?
I think
So-
that's what it's referring to, yeah.
So Social Security will, I believe, automatically put the beneficiary themselves as their representative themselves, but there's a form, or you call Social Security and request to be the individual's representative payee, and then there would be an interview scheduled to make that process happen.
Yeah, good questions. There is one more.
Mhm.
Can you share more about fair share rent?
Okay. So I believe this refers to what Social Security calls in-kind income. So if an individual is receiving SSI and they're considered their own household, and they're living, this actually happened to me as I was receiving Social Security income. So I was living at home, but my parents were supporting me through roof over my head. So I actually had to show proof of Social Security that I was actually using part of my SSI payment to pay them rent, or paying for some of the food. And if an individual does not have proof of that, then they will do what's called, I think it's there'll be a reduction, an in-kind income reduction. to make up for that. So I think that that might be the individual is referring to, fair share rent.
Got it. And then I don't know if you referred to this earlier in the presentation, but it says, where do we go or what website, again, to get an estimate on how long the process takes?
There wasn't a website for how long the process takes. Oh, for applying for disability. The website, you can actually go to ssa.gov and search, I think search application. And then that's where you would be able to click and start the application process. But it doesn't tell you how long the process takes, unfortunately.
Got it. And then what types of receipts do you need for the application, I'm assuming?
That receipts, I'm not sure in terms of receipts. Yeah, that's not my department of
Yeah.
applying for the benefits.
Got it. Okay, well, I think that finishes. Oh, receipts for the fair share. I'm sorry, I referred to the fair share, if you know.
Oh, okay. Where do you provide that? So that would be taken to the Social Security local office to show them that the individual is paying their fair share.
Or
of
if
their
you
expenses.
know, I'm sorry, if you know what type of receipts they might ask for to determine
Oh,
fair share.
oh, yeah. So, an individual if could write, I wrote checks to my parents to show that I was providing rent. Sometimes you can get rent receipts from the office place, but also receipt of their phone bill that they're contributing towards. Also, so if the individuals should have their own bank card showing, so a bank statement showing that they paid for some of the food and things like that.
Okay, well, the last comment is thank you so much. Very informative presentation. So
You're welcome.
yeah. Yeah, thanks again for taking the time. I know you're busy, so taking an hour out of the day isn't easy. So, and I know it took a lot longer than that to get this prepared. So
My pleasure.
thanks again. You're doing great work, and it's nice to see you. It's been since law school since I saw you last time. So,
True.
so 10 years, it's been, let's see, yeah, over 10 years ago now. So,
Yep. I'll stop sharing now. There you go. All right,
okay.
everyone.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
You too. Thanks again, Melissa. And for anyone who has individual guidance sessions, we'll see you at your individual Zoom room. Thanks again.
Bye.
We'll see you next month at the workshop. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.